Hello and welcome to Disney with the Ducks. I am your host for today, Lonnie G, and I am joined by a special duck, Jody B. How are you doing
Oh,
today, Jody?
hi. How are you?
All
That
right, see, you didn't
sounds
know. I kind of threw you off for a minute when I said
You
a
did.
special
I
duck.
was like, what's going on here?
Uh-huh, that's what I do. I like to mix it up sometimes. So you guys have the Lonnie and Jody show today, but we have a very special guest. Cheryl is joining us to talk about her wonderful Disney vacation. Let's just say a month at the world. So, before we get started, if you like what you hear, please, on your algorithm of choice, go and drop us a like or give us a review. 5 stars would be nice. Since it's just Lonnie and Jody actually officially running this one, if you give us fives, I'm sure that'll make the other ducks very jealous. So please feel free to do that. Also, join us over on Facebook. Right, we have a Facebook and Instagram account as well that you can come in and be very interactive on there, so you can share your thoughts on our topic for today. But without further ado, let me officially announce our special guest. Cheryl is joining us from Switzerland today. So, Cheryl, how are you doing today? How's the weather out there?
It's good. It's in the 40s. It's not that cold. It's pretty gray though in the winter here, and it is currently nighttime. So I'm sitting in the
Oh,
dark.
oh well, But thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us. Cheryl did something that many of us aspire to do, right? And that is to spend a month at Disney. So, but since she's coming to us from Switzerland today, our question for you to get to know us better is what's the number one, or let's just say your favorite part of Europe you would like to visit, right? So if you had an opportunity to visit, now Cheryl, you probably visited all over, but we're going to start with you. Is there any parts of Europe, what's your favorite that you really like to visit, or maybe you have planned to visit?
One of my favorite European cities is actually Prague in the Czech Republic. It is absolutely beautiful. It almost reminds me of Disney, the way the city is lit at night, and there's like castles up on the hill along the river. And yeah, so if you come to Europe, in addition to visiting Switzerland, definitely check out Prague.
Wow, I never thought of that. Is there a haunted mansion there?
It probably is.
Oh, good, good.
That's so
As
funny.
long as there's room for one more.
So funny you brought up Prague because my parents just they just got back from their 2.5 weeks in Florida, and my dad was just here. I babysit their plants when they go on vacation, meaning I just try not to kill them, and because I'm not good with indoor plants. Um, my mom leaves me very specific instructions, like how much to water and what days to water. And I'm like, I really try. But anyway, they are going to go on a Viking cruise and they're finishing in Prague. And so we were just saying how we've heard such great things about Prague. So that's funny. Twice in one day that it's just come up.
It's a sign. Joey, you should
Yeah.
go.
Apparently, wouldn't it be nice? I should just tell my dad, like, "Oh, I'm coming with you. Did you not know?"
I
And
mean,
you're
my
paying
daughter
for me.
does it to me all the time. She was like, "I'm coming," so you might as well do it as well. So, so Jody B, what is your favorite?
Well,
Or
I mean, of course, I would want to go to Switzerland and see Cheryl and Alec
yes,
because they're awesome, and that would be fantastic. But I do feel like I better say Serbia because I'm Serbian, and I've always wanted to go. Even though I can say good morning, good night, and I love you. That's the only three things I can say. So there's great conversations. I just think it'd be really cool to see where my grandparents lived and see that culture and that community that I know about, but I've not seen with my own eyes. So I think that's probably where I would want to go.
oh,
That's
that
funny
actually
that
sounds.
you
The list is long, very, very, very long.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I just booked a flight to Serbia last week. I have a work trip there in June. So
Oh my gosh.
my first time there. Yeah.
You're going to have to take all the pictures for me and tell me all about it.
Will do.
Wow, that's awesome. You should try to meet her over there.
Oh, wouldn't that be? Yeah, that would be lovely. I would
Mhm.
not complain. That would be for certain. So, what about you, Lonnie G?
It's a place that we're actually in the process of planning a vacation to now, and that's Lisbon, Portugal.
Oh,
So we, yes, always wanted to go there. So for our anniversary, we're actually planning that. So yeah, hopefully that'll, my wife doesn't get rid of me before then, so I can go. There we go, Portugal.
It's
Awesome.
beautiful.
No, no, no. Have you been there, Cheryl?
I have. Yeah.
And what do you
Yes.
think? Is it lives up to the hype?
Yes, it's beautiful. And if you love seafood, it's a great place for seafood. So
Yeah, hey, you had me at food. We love food. So speaking of food, that transitions nicely into eating 28 days right at Walt Disney World for a month. So Cheryl, tell us about your trip, and why don't you give us the dates that you were at the World?
Sure. So I was there. I arrived a week before Christmas, and I stayed until after the marathon, January 14th. So I left on Tuesday after the marathon. Um, the the background to the trip is so I have a 14-year-old son, and his father and I take turns with Alec, who has him on Christmas, and I had him for Christmas last year. So this year I was going to be alone because my partner also works a funny schedule, 1 month on, 1 month off. So he was going to be away. And 2 years ago, I was on my own for Christmas, and it was fine. But I thought, our offices actually close between Christmas Eve and January 3rd. So I thought, why don't I do Christmas in Disney and do New Year's in Disney? Actually, for me, that was like, I want to do New Year's Eve in Disney. And then it kind of expanded on both ends. There was Run Disney. I said, I'm going to run Goofy. Well, it costs a lot and it takes a lot of time to fly over. So I thought, let me make the most of it. And then I had 2 friends of mine that were going to join me for part of the trip. And then they said they wanted to do a cruise on Christmas. So they twisted my arm, didn't take much. So it ended up being this extravaganza trip where I left the week before Christmas. It takes a whole day to get there. I arrived at Saratoga Springs. I had to work the first couple of days. I'm able to work remotely. So I worked the first 2 days there, and then I was officially off. And then then we moved on to the cruise, and then we moved on to Copper Creek, and we moved on to Riviera. So that was sort of how the trip was broken up.
That is an awesome split stay. That's the best split stay, because you're at the World, you're on the boat, you're back at the World. I mean, yeah, can't wait to hear all about it. Oh, yeah.
It was pretty epic.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look up Legendary, they probably have your picture at Disney. Like they're just like, "Yep, I'm here." So
I know, and I feel somewhat guilty because my son, and Jody knows my son Alec, he wasn't with me. But please don't feel too bad for him, because he was visiting Oma in Germany, and then he went on a ski trip in St. Moritz. So and actually, Alec and I have a trip to Disney in less than 3 weeks, and we're going on the Disney trip. So the child is not deprived.
Yeah.
But mom is.
So it takes a while to get there. It's funny you mentioned working, because for marathon weekend, we had all these plans, and all of a sudden I had a meeting that I couldn't get out of. So, I literally had to kind of change some things over to pop on in and work extra, right? So Jody luckily saved me on that one. She was able to kind of walk my daughter through, keeping her for the day. And I shouldn't say keep her, because she's old enough to do her own thing, but it was her first time going to the expo and things of that nature.
Yeah, and then I ended up sending her by herself, so I didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, but at least she was with you for a while, and you told her where to go, right? And then you met her there, so it was a process.
We got stuck in line at Flight of Passage. The ride went down, and so I was like, "Listen, if you really want to be there and get all the merch, you need to get out of this line and go." And at that point in time, I didn't realize the merch was going to be really good. I should have gotten out of the line to go, but I was like, I don't really want the merch. There's never anything there that I need. Yeah. So I ended up not doing a great job of shepherding her to her first expo. I sent her off on her own.
Well, they have to leave the nest. It's funny. We were standing at the boardwalk, and then on the sofa behind it is a mural, of the actual boardwalk with the characters. And I'm sitting on a Zoom call, and somebody was like, "Lonnie, where are you?" And I was like, yeah, I'm at Disney. And it's like, and everybody just looked like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, they could tell I was not happy to be on that call. They were like, well, we're going to try to make this shorter than usual. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't shorter than usual. So you got in the first day, checked into Saratoga. So tell us about that. So you traveled in. What did you do on your first day?
So yeah, it takes all day to get there. So I leave my house at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I land in Orlando around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So by the time I get to the resort, I am shot. So yeah, I got to Saratoga Springs. Yeah, the first night is a blur. I go to bed. The next day, my two friends arrived, and they very generously invited me to stay with them in their 2-bedroom villa at Saratoga Springs. So we stayed there until we went to the cruise. And this was perfect. We actually both had to work, so it worked out okay during the day. We kind of both worked from this very beautiful room. I don't know if you've been to Saratoga Springs. The 2-bedroom villas are very spacious. They're beautiful. They're comfortable. It's actually one of my favorite resorts. I guess one thing you should know about me is on my Disney trips, I prioritize resorts and restaurants and lounges and dining. The parks are secondary for me. So that's just how I roll. I have an annual pass. I go into the parks, but for me, I love the resort time. I resort hop, and I love Disney Springs is probably my favorite park. So with Saratoga Springs being walking distance to Disney Springs, this was wonderful. So once I was done with work, I could pop over to Disney Springs and grab some food. And by Friday evening, we had both finished work, had signed off. We had the cruise that we were leaving for on Sunday, and Friday evening we had a delicious dinner at Summer House on the lake. And I had a bit of park time after I finished work in the evenings, and I can tell you the parks leading up to Christmas were some of the quietest I've ever experienced. Like I did Epcot, I did Hollywood Studios, I did Magic Kingdom. And I think it's because that annual pass holder blackout. So because we were going during the holiday time, we upgraded to the Incredipass. But if you have the Sorcerer's Pass, you're blocked out. And you could feel it. It was very, very light crowds. I was super surprised. That all went away after Christmas.
I also think schools, all the U.S. schools are still.
Yeah, because it was like
colleges,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They weren't there yet.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful. So yeah, Saturday morning, my friends and I, Jennifer and James and I, we went to brunch at the boathouse. And this was wonderful. You know, Disney Springs at Christmas time was really phenomenal. The decorations they have there, the music that they have going on in the restaurants. For example, at the boathouse, they had dueling pianos. They were playing Christmas music over brunch.
Oh, wow.
They also played like non-Christmas music that kind of switched back and forth. But we had such a good time. We had some drinks, we ate our brunch, and then we continued to just order more drinks and just stay and enjoy the atmosphere. So that was really a lot of fun. And then Jennifer and I left and went to Magic Kingdom because in the days leading up to Christmas in Magic Kingdom, they do that Christmas parade that's normally reserved for the Christmas parties. They do it during the day. It's open to all guests. So we never saw this Christmas parade live. So we went to Magic Kingdom on that Saturday. This was now the 21st of December. And I tell you what, we walked in about 5 minutes before the parade started. We got a spot right in the front row on Main Street. It was not crowded. We saw Tally. We had like such the best time watching this Christmas parade. It's a fun parade. So if you have the chance to see it, you really should. And I feel like it's kind of a bonus that you don't have to pay the Christmas party ticket to see the parade if you're there in those days leading up to Christmas. So
that is a bonus because I do love that parade. And Jody, did you see Jody's favorite, which are the reindeers?
Yes.
How do you feel about the reindeer? Do they bring you nightmares or joy?
They're a little creepy.
Yes, I knew I loved you, Cheryl.
Oh.
Yes.
They're a little creepy. I didn't know you had this feeling, but I do feel like there's something disproportionate about their
reindeers. scare me and bring me nightmares. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm deathly afraid of them.
I will say the other thing we did that was very Christmassy was we went to Jock Lindsay's in Disney Springs, and Jock Lindsay's goes all out with the Christmas decorations. And it's really phenomenal. And they have a whole Christmas menu. So this was a lot of fun to go experience. You kind of have to time it right, because at certain times they have a line outside of people waiting to get in, because it's so popular, because the Christmas decorations are so over the top. But yeah, we were able to see that as well. So
Yeah, I do. I agree. I love Disney Springs. People know that. Just the food selection, the place to go hang out in, and I know they do transform Jock Lindsay's to have, kind of like the Christmas bar now, which is really pretty cool. So so that's awesome. I think you're starting off your vacation in style. Number one, the restaurant selection, top notch, can't pass it up. And then got a chance to see the parks and things of that nature as well, and empty park, which is really good.
yeah, we did. I did also a bit of the Festival of the Holidays at Epcot. Hats off to the American Pavilion, had an amazing turkey meal. I think it cost like $6.50. It was a massive amount of like turkey and stuffing and green beans and mashed potatoes. And I enjoyed it so much. We both said, like, I can't believe, my friend Jennifer and I, we both said, I can't believe we're getting this food from a booth at a theme park. Like, it was so good. So it was my first time experiencing Festival of the Holidays in Epcot. So also tried to do quite a bit of that before we left for the cruise. So it was fun.
Did you do the cookie trail?
I'm not a sweets person, so I did not do the cookie trail.
We did.
Yeah.
During the COVID years, we did Disney Christmas. I guess that's when the kids were, well, I don't know, but we're all masked up and we were there, and we did the cookie trail because there were 4 of us sharing a cookie, so you could get through all of them. But then we got the bonus cookie at the end, and that was fun. So,
what about candlelight processional? Did you have a chance to go there?
Did not do that. No. At this point, remember, I'm still jet lagged. It's a 6-hour time difference.
That's
so
at night. You want to do that?
I didn't have very late evenings. And for whatever reason on this trip, I did not sleep well for the first like 7 to 10 days. Not until I got to my Murphy bed in Riviera did I actually sleep well, funny enough. But yeah, I struggled with sleeping on this trip. But yeah, so I didn't have very late evenings in the beginning.
Okay. Well, a nice little diversion, because you're leaving there, and Sunday you're headed off to.
We went on the Disney Fantasy. We had a 4-night cruise. Where did we go? So the first we had Embarkation Day, then we went to Castaway Cay, then we had Christmas Eve at Lookout Key on Lighthouse Point, Lighthouse Point on Lookout Key and Lighthouse Point, whichever way it is. And then we had a sea day. It was pretty epic. I wasn't sure what to think about a cruise on Christmas, but I'll tell you what, I would do it again. It was very special.
Nice.
You pay a premium for being on a cruise at Christmas, and if you are like me, every time you cruise, you book a placeholder discount. You cannot use it because it's the holiday time. But I have to say, it was worth every penny. So on Sunday, we checked out of Saratoga Springs and we went to the cruise terminal. The embarkation was very smooth. I will tell you, it was chilly that day on Embarkation Day. And when we did our typical lunch at Cabanas, it was a little chaotic because nobody wanted to sit outside because it was chilly. So the seats inside, it was very hard to find a place to sit. So we ended up eating outside where it was very chilly. It was just chaotic. I will say, the 3 of us looked at one another and we were like, we ate our lunch, we enjoyed it. And then we thought, we need to get out of this space. This is apparently going to be a very busy cruise. And what we did is we escaped and we went to Cove Cafe. This was like such a wonderful retreat. It was just the three of us. We didn't have any kids with us. So we were able to go to Cove and just sit. We ordered a drink and then we just got our chill vibe in. And then from then on, it was okay. It was just the that first day lunch was a little bit chaotic for us. But then the rest of the cruise, it settled down. It seemed that there were a lot of families because the next day we went to Castaway Cay. And James wasn't sure he was going to get off the ship. And Jennifer and I got off in the morning and we went immediately to Serenity Bay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know that we had the beach to ourselves for 1 hour.
Oh my.
For 1 hour, she and I, we pulled our chairs up to the water and we kept looking around and we were like, we are the only, except for like a few workers that were going back and forth and asking if we wanted drinks, we were the only passengers there on Serenity Bay. So I think it was a lot of families on this Christmas cruise. It's something to keep in mind if you take a Christmas cruise. But yeah, for us, it was great.
And for those who don't know, Serenity Bay is the adults portion of the island. So most of Castaway Cay is for families, but there is an adult section that you do have to be 18 and older to go to that area. So that's what she's referring to, is that section of the island and of the beach, which is nice and quiet and calm. Apparently really quiet when it's just the two of you. It's your own private beach. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm looking at her. I'm like, we could be like, stranded on an island for all we know, with the exception of a few, employees.
Except for someone bringing you a daiquiri,
In fact, it kept coming back to you. It's like, yeah, bring me another one. I'm just weird.
We did. Those mimosas and those Bloody Marys are cheap before noon. So even on the island.
Oh yeah.
How is the weather that time of year? How was your weather? I guess it's always different, but you said it was chilly that first day. So now you're at Castaway and it's all outside and outdoor. How was that?
It was a little chilly. It was breezy. There was quite a bit of wind and we had our bathing suits on. We put our feet in the water. I'm not one to go in the water much, so I'm not a good measure of that. But we did have, we put a towel over our shoulders because it was a little breezy. It could have been a little bit warmer. And at that time it was a little bit unseasonably chilly. It was colder in Florida. As soon as we got away from Port Canaveral, it started warming up. But I would say on Castaway Cay, it was a little bit chilly. The next day warmed up more.
Okay. So Castaway Cay had a blast, hop back on the boat. Let me ask you this. How was the dining during Christmas, a Christmas cruise? Was the dining special, or did you guys have the Merry Christmas party there? Was that on the boat at this time, or?
Yes. So they have a special Christmas menu in the rotational dining on Christmas Day. So there's a special menu for that, which was very nice. And they have things like they have hot cocoa on Christmas Eve. They had carolers in the atrium singing. You see lots of families going around the ship in their Christmas pajamas on the evening of Christmas Eve and also on Christmas morning, which I absolutely loved.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just everybody was happy. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure what to think because I also had in mind, you've got all these employees on the ship who are having to work on Christmas, and I have empathy for that. But they all seemed so happy that we were there. It was just a super happy vibe. And if you have the chance to do it, you really should. It's very, very special. They did have a special Christmas party celebration out on deck, but I will say we didn't go to it. I think we might have been at Palo when it happened.
I think you chose wisely.
Palo, yeah, yes. We had a Palo dinner. When did we have our Palo dinner? On the 23rd. So it was Castaway Cay that night. We had dinner at Palo. And then the next day we went to Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Okay. And this was our first time there. So this was very exciting for us.
Okay.
Loved it.
Tim, good. I was with my next question because it's funny. We go back and forth and I went there maybe the third ship, maybe there. We were there, but we were there very early in the process, and I thought it was very clean. I love the little, you know, cultural things they do, and like when Mickey and Minnie come out and they do the little dance thing for the island and all. I thought that was so cool, and I'm glad you liked it. So if you had to pick one, would it be Lighthouse Point or Castaway Key?
They're different, so it's very hard for
Hmm.
me to say. They're different, and I like that they're different.
Hmm.
There's certain things I like better at Castaway Key, and there's certain things I like better at the new location. And I'll tell you, at Lookout Key, the sand is the softest sand I've ever felt on my feet ever. It's like silk. It's
Hmm.
like talcum powder. It's so soft. For me, that was very special. And I loved these how they had such respect to preserve the land there and have these boardwalk kind of wooden walkways that you would walk on. I really like that.
Hmm.
And again, we were there with no kids, so we basically went to almost every bar on that island. We just bar hopped,
Yeah.
and we went to the adult beach, which is not very separated from the family beach, but we didn't really go to the family areas. We did eat in the adult lunch area. What I
Okay.
loved about the lunch area where you had lunch is that they had live music. They had a live band playing the steel drums. They had locals from the island, like a band, come and play and sing this kind of Caribbean music. And I'm a sucker for live music. It's one of the reasons I love Disney Springs so much, is all the live music there. So having that on the island for me was a very special touch. So yeah, we really, all three of us were, the island exceeded our expectations.
Yeah. I know some people talk about the walk from from the ship to the island, but I think that water is so beautiful, and you get to see. You're looking down in it, and you're seeing the bottom. You saw fish coming through there, and I think it's a long walk. And to your point, I love the fact that they, you know, respected the reef and built it way out there so that you walking over this reef and you see the things in there, and the water's so pretty. But you did a good job of not answering the question though. You have to pick one. Which one? I know you don't want to. You say they're both different, but I'm gonna put you on the spot. Give me which one is your favorite?
Uh, I think well, okay, the new island.
Okay, I'm with you. I love it as well. My wife likes Castaway Key more, but I prefer the New Island, so I'm just glad. It's a good deal. We're
I haven't
twins.
tried the new one yet, so on my list.
Oh yeah, you have to. It's beautiful.
I mean,
Yeah.
we felt so lucky. That was like, what a way to spend Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah.
Like, just to be on the island, and oh, we really enjoyed the day there. We really,
And
really
I
did.
love the fact that you got to go to both. I was looking at the new
Mhm.
2026 sailings that are coming out, and the Fantasy is doing a 5-nighter that's doing a triple dip. It's doing Castaway, Lighthouse, Castaway, and that's it. It's not going anywhere else. I'm like, that would be awesome because for
That's
me,
actually a really good itinerary, though. I would take that.
because I don't know
Double
if you
dip.
guys know, but Fantasy is like doing just little 4 night, like it's doing some really odd sailings next summer. It's not
Mhm.
going far
Yeah.
or very strange, but I'm like, I don't love necessarily going to the Bahamas or Jamaica. Like they're fine, but I really like the Disney islands because they're you know what you're getting and it's the
Yeah.
same quality of product. I do like going to some of the other islands that maybe I haven't been to before, but after you've been to some of them a couple of times, you're like, all right, been here, done that. So I think that itinerary, I'm like, oh, that would be awesome.
You know, one thing I will say about this itinerary is, even though I said having the cruise over Christmas is more expensive, the itinerary we had was Castaway Key, Lookout Key, and Sea Day. So on the Disney islands, you don't need to book an excursion. You can, and you don't need to pay for any food. So we didn't have to pay for any excursions or pay for any food getting off at ports. So in that sense, it was cost effective, would you say?
I would think you
Disney
totally
math.
right. Yes, yes.
Disney math.
Some about it. Yeah. Yeah, and I love the fantasy, but then again, I think I love all the ships. But yeah, I did see to your point, Jody, that they're doing these little small 4-day cruises, which is, I thought the Wish was the only one that's going to be doing those, but I think, I like it. I think, that's pretty cool. So you went back to the ship, and was that your Palo night?
No, Palo night was the night before. So
Okay.
that night, I don't remember which restaurant we ate at, but I think it was the one, I can't remember what it's called, the one in the middle of the ship. But then so that was Christmas Eve. And then Christmas morning, we had Palo brunch, because what else do you do on Christmas morning, right?
Wow.
Mic drop out. That's it.
I mean, if you're gonna do the cruise,
nice.
I mean, yeah. So we scored a Palo brunch on Christmas morning. It never disappoints, that Palo brunch. So
okay, if you had to pick between Palo brunch and Palo dinner, which one would you pick?
Brunch. That's an easier question than the one Lonnie asked me.
Yeah.
See, your friend looks after you and asks you the easier questions.
We love
Bobby's mean. Just ask Jean.
And the brunch, I'll tell you what, don't sleep on the pizza at brunch, because we ordered, at brunch you can kind of order what you want, and like we ordered like an egg dish, and then I got the soup. And I love the celery soup at Palo brunch. And then I think I ordered the eggplant rollatini, and I thought, I kind of have a hankering for pizza. And I said to Jennifer and James, would you guys have a pizza? Because I don't want to fill up on pizza. It seems like the wrong thing to do at brunch. But we ordered the pizza, and we said, we'll just each have a bite of it. It was probably the thing we enjoyed the most. Like, all of the food was really good, but we all were like, wow, we really enjoyed that pizza. So
yes.
Yeah, it's really good, and you don't have to fill up on it. You can just have a bite of it. But yeah, Palo brunch was wonderful.
Okay, I have a question. If you get the pizza and you don't finish it all, are you allowed to ask for a to-go box of it? Because I know like the other items you can't, because it's like all but the pizza's made for you for your table. So
I literally just an hour ago watched a YouTube video where somebody asked, they were at Palo brunch, and they don't let you take it. Apparently, we didn't know, but apparently, as per another YouTuber, you're not allowed to take the food to go at Palo.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems wasteful. Like if you order pizza and you only eat 2 of the, I don't know, 6 slices or however many there are, like that would be really yummy at midnight. In particular, on some of the ships, like the Wish, when you can't find any food at midnight. So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You would think they would say, yeah, you can take it. And I tell you, the thing I love about Palo, I love the lasagna usually. And it's funny, we were eating there the last cruise, I think it was November. Jody, I went on the last cruise? November? Yeah, November. And, so I ordered the lasagna, and I was sitting there, and my wife was like, can I taste your lasagna? Next thing you know, she had my lasagna. And the guy came out and was like, where's your food? And I was like, oh, she took it. He's like, oh, okay. And he walked away, and he came back with another lasagna. And he said, here you go. And I was like, that's top level service. Right? Yeah. That's what I love about it. The food's great. The service is always great. And it's funny, my last server was from Lisbon, Portugal. And I told her, when I asked where I saw her name tag, and I said, my wife and I want to go to Lisbon. And she gave us the time of year to go, places we should go. She sat there and kind of like just laid out an itinerary for us, when we go. So love Palo. Fave.
Yeah, it's great.
I know, and I didn't do Palo my last sailing, so it's got to be on my to-do list, my next sailing. So
I should also say we did Palo on the first night at the recommendation of Jody and Tim. We did the prima notte, which is not dinner at Palo, but we went before dinner, and we did a wine tasting there, and they give you little bites of food. It's like you get a little taste of Palo, but this was really nice. If you like wine, it's like some high-end wines that they let you taste, 5 different wines. So it's called prima notte.
And they only do it on embarkation day. It's only the first night. I think it's because they don't get a lot of bookings that first night. Most people don't want to go to Palo dinner that first night, so they only do it that night. And it's not very big. Like it's maybe 12 people, 14 people at most.
Yeah,
ours was pretty small. So, but anyway,
it was sold on my cruise. But then I was on the Magic, and the craziness about it was there's a bunch of people on there doing back-to-backs on that Magic cruise. I mean, this was a 7-day, so they had people like 14 days, right? And and so the Magic is so small, you see the same people, and you start to talk to people and develop relationships. And literally was saying, yeah, this is our, third reservation at Palo, and not, so I guess they just booked them all. So I couldn't get it that time. Maybe the next cruise I'll try to register and get it. I was fortunate enough because it was already booked, when it came up to my window to get it, but we were able to get on the ship and get in line and get a reservation when we wanted it before it filled up. So that's a tip for anybody who you missed out registering early. Get on the boat early. If you get a good boarding group, go down where they tell you to, and you can register and get a reservation.
So Cheryl, was the ship completely decorated all Christmas and had all, Christmas decorations and tree and such, or?
There was I loved Cove Cafe. Like, there was this little sofa in Cove Cafe, and they had 2 Christmas trees on the side. In the main atrium, they had a gingerbread house. They had a big Christmas tree. So yeah, every space was decorated, and it smelled like gingerbread, and it was lovely. It was really nice. The cast members, or what, I'm not sure what they're called I feel like they're not called cast members. The crew on the ship, they all had like these red and white candy cane striped winter scarves, which you saw as soon as you boarded the ship. So it was very festive environment. So it was wonderful.
Awesome.
And then that was the end of our cruise. So it was only 4-night cruise. And then on the 26th of December, we disembarked, and but we didn't have to be sad because we were checking into Copper Creek. So, like, the ultimate Christmas resort, at Wilderness Lodge. So, yeah, this was wonderful. So we got off the ship. We went to Copper Creek. So I had booked just like a standard. I am DVC owner, so I booked I can't remember what you call it, like a standard room at Copper Creek. My friends had their adult kids coming to visit them in a couple days, so they got a cabin at Copper Creek. Yeah, the 2-bedroom cabins that are on the water.
You have
everything.
So Cheryl got to hang out in a cabin for most of the trip. So I had my sleeping quarters, I called it, and then it was wonderful. So we waited a little. We didn't wait that long for our rooms to be ready. We went to the lobby, and we kind of just waited around, and I decided I had a reservation for Magic Kingdom booked that day on the 26th, and I said, I'm going to take the boat over and go into Magic Kingdom and get a Starbucks, because I have an annual pass and you can do that. So I went into Magic Kingdom, went to Starbucks, got my peppermint mocha, because you cannot get a peppermint mocha we have Starbucks in Switzerland, but we don't have peppermint mocha. I don't know what the Swiss have against chocolate and peppermint, but it's just not a combination that exists out here. And I love it. So I went to Magic Kingdom. I got my peppermint mocha. I looked at the crowds and I thought, hey, I'm going to go back to my resort. And then I got an alert. My room was ready. I was like, great. I'm like, this is a total annual pass baller move. I just went to the Magic Kingdom or a Starbucks, went back, took the boat. And I love the boat ride between Magic Kingdom and Wilderness Lodge. It is so enjoyable. I never get tired of it. So yeah, got back, settled in the room. My friends also, their cabin was ready pretty early, surprisingly.
Okay, you want to know why their cabin was ready? Because they're never booked because they're 8 zillion points.
Yeah.
So they probably
must have a lot of points. I mean, they did a 2-bedroom at Saratoga. I didn't want to say anything. I'm thinking they have a lot of points. 2-bedroom at Saratoga, then the cabin. That's awesome.
I was like, that's why their room was ready, because I probably not used very often. I have a feeling those cabins are probably empty more than they are filled.
I agree with you, but I also, at Christmas time, it's kind of the resort and the place to stay at Christmas time. So I will say the resort didn't feel uncomfortable, but it definitely felt full. But yeah,
I'm sorry, you got in at the 7-month window though, because you don't own that Copper Creek, right?
I own a Copper Creek Riviera.
Oh, I didn't know you had 2 countries. Okay. I was like, wow, how did you get in? But never mind, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, those are the two home resorts I have, which I love. They're both extremely different. So, so we settled in. did some grocery ordering, and then we hung out in the evening in their cabin, because why would you hang out in my studio if they have a cabin? And we were able to see the fireworks at Magic Kingdom from their porch. Like, so this is what I mean. Like, the only park time I did that day was to go into Magic Kingdom to get a Starbucks. And then, like, why would you even go into the parks when you have your friends have a cabin? So we hung out in the cabin. We had a great time. We were just chatting all evening, and then we watched the fireworks. The music is piped in. We watched the fireworks from their porch. And then funny, we have a friend who's an electrician at that resort, and we had like an issue, like we didn't know how to turn a light off. So I like text messaged him, and I'm like, hey, do you know how to turn this light off on the porch, on the combination fan light? And he's like, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I didn't know he was working. So we had another friend come over, and so they had a little party in the cabin. And then then we went to bed, and then in the morning my friend messaged me, and she's like, I'm having coffee in the hot tub, come on over. I'm like, okay. So
I mean, I know Jennifer, but I need to become better friends with Jennifer.
Yeah, she's living her best life. Let me just tell you,
they're lovely people. They're working all the time, so they were also they work hard, and they were doing meetings from the cabin and stuff. So but so we had coffee in the hot tub, and then we kind of then went back to my room and got ready, and we went back to Disney Springs to eat at Jock Lindsay's. That's what we did, because when we went to Jock Lindsay's the first time, we just had drinks because we had a dinner reservation, but we wanted to try some of their Christmas menu food. And Jock Lindsay's is only dressed up for Christmas until the 31st of December. So we made sure we got back there again. And that was our day. We actually didn't go to any parks. So you can kind of see how I roll. The parks are an afterthought. I love the parks, don't get me wrong, but I love the resorts and I love Disney Springs. So
I mean, Cheryl, let's just be honest. The best 2 hours you've ever spent at Magic Kingdom were after hours with the Binning family.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm not sure that anything can top that evening, because it was so incredibly epic. It really, Lonnie, I'm not lying. Like, this was one of those perfect nights that it had been raining and a bunch of people just didn't show up, and we just walked on stuff. And it was just one of those, like, everybody was having a great time. It was one of those perfect nights that you can't replicate ever. And it was, it
was Easter time. It was spring break in April 2024, and I was there with my son, and Jody and Tim were there with the kids, and we hung out together a lot during that trip. And we had this epic night. It was my favorite night ever in Magic Kingdom with you guys. Yeah, so we had fun time.
So that's why you didn't need to go to the parks much, because you just had, that
my bucket was full.
Your brain.
So then we let's see, the next day was Saturday, and we had walked past Raglan Road and saw an advertisement for brunch there, and we looked at the menu and we're like, well, that looks good. So we went to brunch at Raglan Road. Very, very good. Highly recommend. It's a very broad brunch menu. There's savory, there's sweet. They didn't have the entertainment, which was fine for us, because it can get a little bit loud with the dancers and everything in Raglan Road, but it was very enjoyable food.
If you had to pair, if you had to go, I'm going to make you choose. Lonnie made you choose one, so I'm going to make you choose one. If you have to choose between Boathouse brunch and Raglan Road brunch, I'm not going to make you pick with Wine Bar George, because I know how you feel about George. So just those two, just Boathouse and Raglan Road. Which would you pick?
Raglan Road.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That was a quick answer.
Phenomenal. The entertainment there was phenomenal with the piano players, but the food I liked even better at Raglan Road.
Okay. Hot take.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think my friends would agree with me. It was a very good brunch.
Another one to add to the list.
Yeah. Then the next day I got up on my own and did early entry at Magic Kingdom. The first hour was very low crowds. I knocked out like 4 or 5 rides, and then it got busy. Now, like, the crowds are there. I don't like crowds. I don't like waiting long lines for rides. So I left Magic Kingdom after an hour and a half, which is fine. I got my fill. And I walked over to the Grand Floridian. I soaked up the gingerbread house in the lobby and all the wonderful Christmas vibes there. And then I walked over to the new Poly Tower to check that out because, as I said, I'm a resort gal. So I wanted to see what this was all about. It was beautiful. It's beautiful from the inside. From the exterior, it's fine. It's okay. It's much better than it looked like when it was being built. But the inside is just gorgeous. So yeah, I checked that out, and I had a drink at the Wailulu Lemon. What is it called? Wailulu Lounge? Wailulu Lemon. I don't know. Wailulu Lounge. The new bar area there. So I had a drink there. It was fine. I didn't have anything to eat there. And then, yeah, went back to my resort. Because by this time, you guys, I'm feeling sick. Uh-oh. I picked up a bug on the cruise. I have to say, I usually get sick on a cruise or coming off a cruise. But I just came off with a bad head cold. And, one of my big fears was getting sick because I was signed up to do Goofy. I was very worried about getting sick for the run. So in some ways it was good. I got sick early enough that I was recovered before the whole Run Disney weekend came. But I had about 3 or 4 days where I had a pretty strong head cold. So I was going at a bit of a slower pace and taking a lot of medication. Nothing horrible, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know the weather, we coming up on marathon weekend, same thing, right? We're always kind of like, oh, we don't want to get sick, especially after all the training and stuff you put in to go there. But I know the temperature was changing so much. They had said, and it's supposed to be every time you turn on the news, it went from being it was beautiful to it's going to be a blizzard to this and that. And then there's just there's a lot of stuff going around stomach and head, right?
Yeah.
It's floating around that whole time, right? So you got all these reports. And, from last Dopey, not this one, the one before that, the whole sick thing. So I was paranoid actually kind of going down there, making sure I didn't, get sick.
Yeah.
So glad you were able to shake it off after all that.
I was able to shake it off. Yeah. I got some medication. After 3 or 4 days, I was already on the mend. So, but at that point, we then get to December 30th, and my friends and I both moved resorts. So I moved over.
So they left the cabin.
Yes.
Okay.
So then we went different resorts. We still hung out together a lot, but they went to a treehouse in Saratoga Springs because at that point they had both their kids and their partners visiting, so they needed an extra bedroom. And the tree houses at Saratoga Springs are 3-bedroom. And I'm by myself, so I went to my standard tower studio at Riviera. I mean, I've probably spent 2 months in a tower studio at Riviera since it opened. It's my favorite room. I own at Riviera. You have to book them early because they go quickly. They're small, but I'm practically European now. I'm used to small spaces, so it's fine for me. So for the next 2 weeks, I stayed at a tower studio on Riviera. I love it.
Nice. Okay. That's a real good way to kind of, you're still close to the parks, right? And I know Jody loves Riviera as well. So yeah, that's a nice little switch to move over there.
And at this point, we're gearing up for New Year's Eve. And our plan, my friends and I, our plan was to do New Year's Eve in Epcot. And we didn't want to be switching rooms on New Year's Eve. So that's why we made the decision to switch resorts on the 30th of December. Yeah, so that was all very intentional. And then on New Year's Eve, I have to say, our plan went well. I booked us. So now it's like my friends, their 2 kids, and their partners, and myself. And I booked us all a 4:45 p.m. dinner reservation at La Hacienda de San Angel at Epcot. Nice. I think I didn't realize it initially. And then I kind of realized like, oh, the first set of fireworks at New Year's Eve are at 6 o'clock. So we were able to see the fireworks from our dining table because we were like right next to the big windows that are at La Hacienda de San Angel. So La Hacienda de San Angel or La Hacienda de San Angel is the restaurant that's out on the water in Mexico, not the one in the pyramid. So we had an amazing view. The music was piped in. We saw the fireworks at 6 o'clock. And yeah, this was amazing. We had a nice dinner there. And then we did some rides after dinner. And then we walked around World Showcase, and all the DJs were coming out and the music was going. And it was a fun vibe. I thought to myself, it's going to be crowded. We might want to ditch the crowd. So I booked another ADR for 9:45 p.m., knowing we're probably not going to be that hungry, but maybe we just want to get out of the crowds. So I booked 9:45 p.m. at Nine Dragons. We went in there just to get out of the crowds, have a drink. We all ordered like a small bite to eat. And then after that, we went back into World Showcase and experienced the DJs that were set up. And it was just really fun. Did we stay for midnight fireworks? No.
No.
The deal breaker was the line for the women's bathrooms. And probably if I looked around for other bathrooms, I would have found shorter lines, but I am not very patient and I don't like waiting on lines, especially for the bathroom. And even in the Nine Dragons restaurant, there were people coming from outside to go into the restaurant's bathroom. So even that one was not, it was a long line going out the restaurant.
You know, the lines long for the bathroom, like the Norway bathroom is always, it's gigantic. So if there's a line out there, then you're in trouble. So
yeah, I think probably if we searched around more, we would have found one hidden one. But like at this point, we're tired. So we all said like we're good with not seeing the fireworks. Now they were going back to Saratoga Springs. I was going back to Riviera, so I knew like I could see the fireworks actually from my balcony because in the Tower Studio, one of the upsides of having a Tower Studio is you pretty much always have a fireworks view. So I took the Skyliner back, got back to my room, called my partner who was working in Iraq at the time. I FaceTimed him and like live streamed the fireworks for him because we weren't able to be together at it was like our way of being together at midnight. So that was fun. So I got to see the fireworks from my balcony. So that was nice.
That's winning. That is winning.
Yeah.
So all right. So what we're going to do now is, because this is about halfway through your trip, so we are going to put a bow on this one and come back to finish the rest of your epic trip. But before we do, there is, it's controversial, but people usually say this is the best part of the show, which is quacking up with the ducks. So Jody B, can you quack us up today?
Yeah. So, we're talking about traveling. We're talking about, going to other countries. But I was just curious, what country would you go to when you're in a hurry?
I don't know.
Russia. So stupid. I know. Sorry. I could come up with.
I think it was good. Cheryl, can you quack us up?
Well, those really nice balloons that you get in Magic Kingdom with the Mickey ears inside, they probably cost at least $20. If you have one, why should you not give it to Elsa to hold on to?
She may let it go. Let it go.
Exactly.
I'm over here thinking like, why would? Okay, well, yeah, there you go.
All right, Lonnie G.
All right, so what do you call a Frenchman wearing flip-flops?
I don't know. What?
Flippy flop. That's hard. That's horrible. That is horrible.
French are never going to allow us to visit their country.
I don't think we even have any French listeners, so I think we're good.
Oh, that was great. Well, thanks, friends, for joining us. We are going to get to hear about the rest of Cheryl's trip and just on our next episode. So stay tuned, because I know we all want to hear about her time at the Riviera, what it's like the day after New Year's Eve. I'm curious if you heard the bum, 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 the bass thumping while you were at the Riv. So we've got a lot of fun other questions to ask her and get to hear more about her trip. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, friends.